Hello, ladies and gentlemen, dreamers of the fifth dimension. You guys want another one, and you guys really enjoy my videos when I do this, so another dream, another video. But this dream was extremely vivid when it comes to what I've dreamed before in previous videos, when it comes to Verum gameplay and story. Kingdom Hearts' 20th anniversary, I swear I need a Verum game this year, or revealed this year, whatever. And I'm going to share what this dream is real. Like, it was so vivid and real, and I thought it was legit. I ran after I woke up. I got mad. I ran to my PS5 to see if it was running or whatever, and it wasn't there. And I'm like, man, what? My heart was racing. It was crazy. All right, so let me share this dream with you guys. But first of all, the disclaimer: this is a dream. This is not theories. There's not a theory or speculation or anything like that. I am just conveying to you what I dreamed about my dream, and I was able to retain it for a couple of days because I had this like over on Saturday, I think. But yeah, let's get right into it. So this dream was for Kingdom Hearts Verum Kingdom Hearts. It was hazy, whatever, and it was known as the Noctua Trial. It was a demo in order to gauge people's interest in a Verum game, and it had like a little choice in there in order to like, oh, would you like to see this in the future or whatever, and I'll get to that. And it's really interesting how they did it, right? So it was kind of akin to like the platinum demo. Like it's like a very specific demo that actually isn't a shred of the game, just something to prep up the game when the game actually releases or whatever. So this is how the demo starts, right? You wake up in a car, and you could tell, and you're first person of this character, and you could tell right now that this character is of small stature because like, oh, it's not an adult. Like you're looking up in the seat, like you're in the back seat, and then you hear a voice next to you, and then it's a girl, and she's like, brother, like this car ride is taking so long. What can we do anything or anything? And when you look at her, you can tell right away, for Kingdom Hearts fans, that it's obviously a younger version of the nameless star, like about like 5, 6, 7, 8, like in that range, like small child range, right? And then she's talking to you, but you don't know who you are because you're looking through the character's perspective, right? And it's a fancy car too, and you could tell like you're driving around like a cityscape. So obviously, if you're putting two together, that's I saw like, oh, Shibuya Quadratum or whatever. And then she's like, Dad, when are we gonna get there? And he's like, oh, we're gonna be there. It's still gonna be a while, sweetie, or whatever. And then she looks back at the brother, and then she's like, oh, I know what we can do to pass the time. Hey Dad, can we play that one game, right? And then he's like, I don't know about you playing it in the car, but I mean, I guess we're still a ways away, but you're gonna have to take off the game when we get there. And then she's like, yeah. She looks to you, hey brother, you want to play this with me? And then like, yes, no, and then I'm not gonna say no, so yes, like bam, yes. And she's like, all right. So like this drawer that was in the back, like not in the back seat, like those really nice fancy cars, they have like a drawer like at the back of the cup holder. I digress. She takes it out, and it's like this little headphone piece thing that it's like these two circular things, or like silver or whatever. Grabs one and gives it to you, and then she puts one on her ear, and then the ear like it makes like a visor thing, and then like she's jacked in, right? And she's like, all right, this is gonna be fun. You put yours on, jack in, and then vroom, and then you play Verum. Now this is where things get weird, all right? You have to remember the perspective of the car ride and the game of Verum, all right? So in Verum, you come out as your Zora, and you play as your Zora as we see him, as we've seen him in game. And then your sister plays like a female character that isn't the Nameless Star. She has white hair, like a battle dress. She kind of looks like a dragoon, like a little bit like Arnea from Final Fantasy 15, Final Fantasy 13. A little bit like Arnea, but like dressed in like silver armor or whatever. And then she's like supporting you as you play. Now you're in an area that looks a lot like, it's like a silver mix between Altesha and Insomnia, right? But not quite. So you're playing as Yozora. I was about to say Noctis, but you're gonna get to this point. You're playing as Yozora, and then you're running around, and it was like pretty slick. I'm like playing. I'm like, oh, this is really, really nice, and the graphics are super nice. And then your health bar, everything is like a kind of a mix between Final Fantasy 15 and the bar that we saw in Kingdom Hearts Remind, and when you're fighting Yozora in Quadratum. And then we get to this bridge because we're supposed to get to like, there's a marker that we're supposed to get to this building, and we're running there, and then this like big attack happens where all these monsters. They're mechanical monsters. The best way I could describe what these monsters look like, they look like mechanized nobodies. So imagine like the Xemnas Dragon boss, but just like a smaller. That's how they look. That's what their designs are like akin to, right? And you have to fight them as Noctis. Now, alright. The reason why I keep saying Noctis, you'll see why, alright? Trust me. You fight as Yozora, and then like the button scheme looked really, really slick. So of course, like square was attack, triangle was non-aiming projectile attacks with the crossbow, right? But then what was really cool is that when you press one of the triggers, I forgot L2 or R2. When you press one of the triggers, you go into a state that's kind of like shot lock, but when you target as much as you can, then it gives you the option to like warp strike, or it was like bend beam or whatever. So then I tried both of those, right? And then the warp strike is like, oh, I target all these enemies, and then the more you press square, the more enemies you hit in succession, like bam, bam, bam. So it was kind of like a tic-tac-toe type of thing, and it was really, really neat and really fast, and like Yozora was taking them out like easily. And then the next thing I saw is that when we cleared out all the monsters, there was like these people that were like scared and like huddled from the monsters, obviously, or whatever. And then there's a function in the game in which Yozora goes and heals them, or I should say stabilizes them. Like the term was stabilize. So you go around them, you stabilize them, and it looked like you were healing them. And then in gratitude for you stabilizing them, you get an attack and defense buff for a certain amount of time, right? And then throughout playing this game, you see like, oh, where there's enemies and there's people to save, you clear the enemies, you stabilize them in order to like overcome their fears so they can go away and get to safety. And when you do that, you gain like praise, which gives you buffs, and I'm like, that's really cool. Now, the reason why I keep saying Noctis is that in another battle with more of these things, there was a option, like it was either tied to circle triangle, I don't know, like when it comes to the button specifics, it gets hazy, whatever, but there's an option to go into something that was called Crisis Shift, right? And then when Yozora goes into Crisis Shift, like, by the way, all of his reticles and attacks, you know, were red reticle, red blade, all that good jazz, red blast, red slashes, whatever. When you go into Crisis Shift, Yozora's clothes goes like straight black, like, you know, like there's like accents of like plaid and like red, and like, no, they go straight black. Your hair turns black, and then the energy that you use is red, goes from red to blue. And like, so like straight up, his color scheme goes into Noctis's color scheme, right? And I'm like, excuse me? And then your attacks turn blue instead of red. And then that's when you get into the more unlockable, like the unblockable things that you've seen in Kingdom Hearts 3 Mind. And it was like really, really cool. And the action was so high octane, like it really made use a lot of the trigger button in order to pull off all the combos and whatever. And if you attack enemies without using the trigger, you can still like strike them, whatever, a lock-on strike. But like the real meat of the game really came from holding the trigger and doing these wild moves and combinations that are very contextual to the area and to the moves that you do in certain sequences that allows Yozora to do like these weird like combination and strikes. Like there was like a strike where like bend beam, where he would dive towards the enemy, kind of like how you saw in the Verum trailer where he was diving for the Nameless Star. He would dive towards the enemy, and then he would shoot lasers that would curl around him, or at least try to. You guys ever seen I forgot what those lasers are called. You guys are gonna say it in the comment section. The eye beams that Darkseid does, that they literally bend like in order to get to their target from, you know, DC Comics or whatever. It's kind of like those, right, that bend it around Yozora, and then like you can either focus or break them off in order to attack enemies around you, or focus on one in order to like finish it. So after getting past all these enemies, you go to a building, and I kid you not, you go to this building in order to have breakfast, because apparently like that was the plan for Yozora's character and this unknown character that's being played by your sister. You get to this building and you sit down for breakfast. It's like, oh, Master Yozora, we have your table for you. So you sit down in this really, really nice, super nice area. Everyone's having a nice or breakfast or whatever. You sit down, have a conversation. I don't remember the conversation was because the very next thing outside the window, which was like a big window, you see like a lake, but it's more like a lake that was connected to the Shibuya stream, because they could tell it's like this is a Shibuya stream connected to a lake, which is not really a thing in Japan. But from the lake, and I'm brain farting again, the Earth Summon from Final Fantasy. I want to say Golem. I'm probably wrong. I'm trying to stay into the flow of remembering the dream. The Earth Summon comes out, but the difference in the design of this Earth Summon is that it comes out and it's huge, and it has like a hood and a cloak around it, and then Yuzuru is like, oh, we gotta take care of it. We gotta take care of that. We can't let it just run around. So then you get up and you guys go jump out the window, and then you're running towards this gigantic like summon, just walking towards like wherever. But on the way there you see more enemies, like more of these like mechanized nobody enemies, and you gotta take them out, and it's really fun. And then crisis shift, and then like turn blue, and then crystals, and it was super cool, right? And the gameplay was super slick. You get to the summon, you're about to like, it gets into a little cutscene, and then like the mystery girl is like, all right, Commander, let's take it down, right? And then Yuzuru's like, right. They jump towards it, bzz, right? And then you hear your sister, ah, and then the dad's like, oh, we're almost there, so I had to cut off the feed. You know, I said like when we're almost there, you gotta stop playing. So you take off your headset, and then your sister's like, we're getting to the good part. But it was fun, right, brother? And then you're like, said, yeah, it was really fun. And that's like, that's them, that's Square Enix, like, and Disney trying to like, oh, did you have fun, right? Oh, it was really fun. Yeah, it was really fun, right? And then she says something very odd, and this is where things get spicy, okay? She says something really odd where she's like, oh, but I just really wish that we could play as certain non-playable characters. Would you like that, brother? And then when it gives you the option to answer that, the camera shifts to you, and it turns out the brother, the little kid, is a young Sora in a really nice suit. Like a kid Sora, like small child Sora in a really nice suit, right? And then like he's pondering, and then the question poets up, oh, would you like to see more playable characters in future Kingdom Hearts games that have not been playable or have been scarcely playable in the past, such as Kairi? And I'm like, why are they name dropping Kairi specifically? And he's like, yes, no. And I'm like, oh, yes, yes, yes. And Sora's like, like, but he doesn't talk. He says, right? And then this is like, oh, I thought so too, right? And it goes back to the first person perspective. Now here's when things get wild. The car stops, and it's like, all right, kids, we're here, right? And then it's like, ah, he's arrived. Then from your perspective, your door opens, because you're like, oh, your door's right here, you're sitting here. Your door opens, and it's Luke's sword, but not it's Luke's sword, the driver from the Kingdom Hearts 3 Secret movie, but like, he's wearing a suit, and then he's like, ah, it's so good to finally meet you, Master Sora, right? It's like, and then like, he's talking to you, and he says, my name is, and then the very same way that they did it in Kingdom Hearts Remind when Master said his name, it got blank, and how it like lit up and got blanked out. It's like, my name is blank, blanked out, so we don't hear Luke Sword's real name. And he's like, oh, I am the caretaker of whom we are celebrating this very special occasion for, right? It's so good to finally meet you, and I hope we were gonna have a good time. Come now, watch your step. We mustn't keep, come now, watch your step. We mustn't keep the son of the commander waiting on his birthday, right? And then young Sora grabs Luke Sword's hand, gets out of the car, and then as you're getting out of the car, like, it's daytime, so like, when you get out of the car, it's like, whoosh, like white, and it blinds to white. And then as it's white, you hear Haley Joel Osment say, man, I really can't wait to see Yuzuru again. And then the demo just ends. And I'm like, no, I woke up and I'm like, I turned on my PS, so I'm like, no. And I'm like, dude, why was this so specific? This was increasingly specific, and I'm telling you, this is all a dream. This is not I'm not theorizing or speculating anything, but I just wanted to relay that, and I'm just like, it's crazy, it's wild. And I'm like, God. So Square Enix, if you need like a tip or anything, you know, if you announce a Verum Rex game, releasing a demo would be kind of nice. I don't know. So So let me know what you guys think about this dream. I get excited thinking about it. Like, this is like the one dream that I get really, really excited for when it comes to like past dream videos or whatever. I want to know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts and comments and theories in the comment section below. And I hope you guys had a good time, and I hope you guys were able to visualize, because of course I don't have any visual aid with these videos. Alright, so until the next one, this has been HMK. Dream on, and I'll check you guys later.
So you haven't subscribed to HMK yet? Don't piss Xemnas off.